Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fiddlecallers of all ages, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the CZ75 SP01 Tactical. Roll intro. Sponsor me. What's up, dude? ChatGPT says the SP05 Tactical builds off of the CZ75. The Tactical was introduced in the mid-2000s as a modern evolution of the CZ75 platform. Designed with input from military and law enforcement users, it features a full-length dust cover with accessory rail and extended beaver tail, improved ergonomics, and increased weight to help reduce felt recoil and muzzle rise. The tactical variant replaces the standard manual safety with the decocker, allowing the pistol to be safely carried with a hammer lowered on a loaded chamber. Renowned for its reliability, soft recoil impulse, and exceptional accuracy, the CZ SP01 Tactical has become a favorite among duty users, home defenders, and shooting enthusiasts alike. Now let's talk about my impressions on the pistol. Now, in the fancy box, you're gonna find your paperwork, your brushes, and the gun with two 19 round magazines. 19 rounds. Now, the reason I picked up this gun is I was feeling a little nostalgic for Black Ops 1, and I was riding off of the metal framed pistol hype I got when I got my 1911. I wanted to keep moving forward with the metal framed pistols, but 2011s cost an arm and a leg. Berettas also were kind of expensive, and I've always heard the memes of the people who favor the month of June to favor this pistol. That and hipsters alike. Now, jokes aside, this is a good pistol. There are benefits, there is a feel to it, there is a vibe to it. It's like driving a manual car versus an automatic. It's like driving an older car versus a newer car made like today. The slide is short and compared to something like a Glock or a SIG. That is because the slide is riding on a rail inside the frame. The frame actually comes out. I'll flag you guys for a second. The slide actually rides inside the frame, as in where a Glock, the slide is riding on the frame, not in the frame. It's gonna give you a couple of things. You're gonna have a rail extending from the front of the gun almost damn near all the way to the back, which is going to give you a nice consistent recoil to the rear almost every time with little deviation. That is also going to bring your barrel or your bore axis down lower, which is going to center or lower the pivot point or pivot position of the recoil, making it for a smoother management recoil. That added with the weight and the single action on the pistol makes the gun a flat, fast shooter, which is why I think a lot of competition users favor this gun. Another thing I noticed right away is when grabbing the gun, it feels solid. It fills up your hand with that palm swell. You have to move it with intent. It's heavy. If you're gonna make a movement, you have to be dedicated to it. You have to drive the gun. It wants to be driven. That beaver tail up top helps a lot, but it does not work well with concealed carry. I'm talking a little bit about that in a second. On the gun, I have upgraded True Glow sights. It came with glow-in-the-dark sights from the factory, but I'm planning on get this slide cut so that way I can put an optic so I'm able to co-witness a little bit. It has a left side slide release, ambi decocker in the rear, and this version comes in double action and single action. So when the hammer is not cocked at all, you're going to have a lot of weight to pull back on your first shot, followed by single action, very crisp, very light shots. On your half cock position, you're going to have that take up pretty much eliminated to where you have a very strong final pull. It gets a little bit to get used to, but once you get used to it, you just start flying. I have a reach reduction kit from Cajun Gun Works in the pistol right now. If I remember, what that does, it brings the travel of the trigger to the rear a little bit so you don't have a full trigger pull. Conceal carrying this thing. I would probably conceal carry this exact gun during the fall and winter months where I'm able to have it on an external holster or an area of my body to where it doesn't matter if it's poking out a little bit underneath a jacket. Mostly because of the beaver tail and the full size nature of the pistol. When I was test riding it as an EDC, I was using a gunfighter. Incorporated holster. It works very well, but they did not have an option to have a holster fitted with the TLR1. Disappointing. There are others that make it, but none in the price bracket that I was aiming for. Knowing that I was only going to carry it, I'm not going to be carrying it during the hotter months, which was coming up. So I just went ahead and did this. The holster I use for the belt for this gun is a T-Rex Arms holster. No retention, so it's in and out, very quick, very fast. Now comparing it to my Glock 45, the one biggest thing I noticed was the weight of the pistol. This is substantially heavier because of the steel frame, while this is way more lighter. When I do conceal carry this gun, it's way more comfortable to carry than something like this. Now, when it comes to performance, I'm probably gonna give it to the CZ, but with a caveat. You do have to train with the double action nature of the pistol, and there are some ways you can tune the pistol to your liking. When it comes to customization and affordability, I'm probably gonna stay with the Glock. The Glock aftermarket is very, very huge, especially today where there are Glock clones of Glock clones, where you can get parts on parts and make your gun into a copy of the Roland Special or just whatever you want. This, however, does require some machining, some know-how, some gunsmithing, and premium parts to get, because they're not really considered as like an everyday type of gun or an everyman's type of gun. They're mostly used for competition. So you're gonna have to be paying competition customization prices for this. There's some affordable things like the LOK grip panels, which feel very nice in the hand. And there are also variants you can buy that have slide cuts right away and all the bells and whistles that you do want. But when it comes to buying a Glock where it is slide cut out of the box, you have the pick frame, you already have a bin full of Glock parts that you could trick it out with, versus something that needs specialized tools and people and the know-how to do, I'm gonna have to give it to the Glock. Here's something you don't really see a lot when people are rating firearms or comparing firearms. When it comes to after customization and or pre-customization and styling and just overall look, I'm gonna give it to this guy. Besides with this, where you see every generation of Glock kind of looks the same with the exception of the Gen 6. Just based on style alone, I'm gonna have to go with this. Oh shit. With ease of use right out of the box, I'm gonna have to give it to the Glock. Right out of the box, you load it, you shoot it, it's striker fired, it's easy, it has convenience of the striker fire, and there's nothing really special you gotta do to start dry firing with it and things like that. There's not much you gotta worry about. The maintenance is easy. With this, because of the all metal frame construction, there is going to be a lot more metal on metal that you got to watch out for. And dry firing with this, you have to make sure you're taking the proper precautions to where you don't break your firing pin. I mean, it's easy. You just need something to block the hammer from hitting the rear of the firing pin and have a dummy round or have a dummy round inside to absorb some of that force of the hammer smacking the rear. Comfortable. Is it comfortable? Which one's more comfortable? I'm gonna say this one's way more comfortable in the hand. Right out of the box into the hand, it just feels good. Your hand just melts right into the grip. And compared to something like this, if you haven't shot with a palm swelled gun before, going straight to a Glock, going back to like a Glock just feels like there's a void in my, right in my palm, in this area right here. With this, I feel the gun touching every single part of my hand, getting that contact, knowing that I have that connection with the pistol makes it very more comfortable. Now, if it was between the Glock and the CZ75 SP01 Tactical, when it comes to a preparedness scenario or for like a kit based sidearm, which one of these would I pick based on my opinion? But in a group where a majority of people will be carrying this, it's best not to be the odd man out and carry this. So I think based on that, I'm gonna have to go with the Glock still. Now, why do a lot of CZ owners get labeled as a little fruity? I think it went back to like early 2000 hipster culture, where people refused to get on the new and thinking that they were special running something much more older or vintage. I can get that vibe. I can get it because these are just two ways of just shooting a bullet and putting stuff on it and just using it. But I think it was just the snootiness and just the rejection of going with the crowd, to where it's like they're weird because they're not running what I'm running type of deal, and just kind of just became its own little subculture or its own little inside joke in the gun community. But in my experience, the people who I've seen run CZs are a little bit of oddballs, but aren't we all? So I think this is still a very good pistol to have. There are a lot of variants, so one of these will tickle your pickle. They do have a striker fire version, which is very affordable. It costs less than a Glock, even full size, that comes with a red dot mount, come with rails and all the bells and whistles and striker fire and all that stuff. So there is a CZ for you. But I don't know, go to local indoor range. If they have one to rent out, try it out, see if it tickles your fancy, or just, you know, branch out a little bit on your guns and to see what you like, what you actually like or don't like. Me, I just want them all. I like guns. I want to have a gun wall and all the stuff. So yeah. So let me know, would you be running the hipster hip slinger or the Austrian champion? So that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll catch you later.